Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking a step back to look at something absolutely fundamental. I want to be crystal clear right from the start. Today's discussion, it's not about whether AI is good or bad. We're not doing the whole technology taking over the world debate. Nope. It's about something much more subtle and honestly, a lot deeper. It's about what is quietly, almost invisibly, changing in the very way you and I learn.
I really want you to think about this question for a second. If AI just disappeared tomorrow, how much of what you know would still actually remain? Take a moment to let that sink in. It's a pretty heavy question, isn't it? Because let's face it, we interact with these tools constantly, but we rarely stop to measure what we're actually keeping in our own heads.
Section 1, Access versus True Understanding, the real shift in learning.
To really understand where we're going, we kind of have to look at how learning used to look for generations. Historically, learning basically meant effort. You had a question, you went to a library, you searched through books, you found contradictory information, you struggled to piece it all together, and you definitely didn't understand everything immediately. But here's the secret. That struggle, it wasn't a problem. It was the process. That friction was literally the act of learning. Now compare that to the present. Today, you ask a question, and boom, within seconds, you get a complete answer. It's perfectly clear, beautifully structured, and frankly super impressive. But we really have to ask ourselves, has learning genuinely become faster, or have we just completely removed the very process that actually builds understanding?
Section 2, the illusion of understanding, feeling versus knowing.
Look, there is a massive, absolutely critical difference between getting a lightning-fast answer on a screen and actually building an understanding inside your own mind. And this gap, it's exactly where the whole shift in modern education and knowledge work is happening. So let's make this real. Imagine you ask an AI to explain a super complex concept. You read the output once and it feels perfectly clear. The logic flows, the vocabulary is spot on, and in that exact moment, your brain tells you, yep, I understand this. But then, imagine it just shut your laptop and ask you to explain it right back to me in your own words. Suddenly, that crystal clarity just completely vanishes. We're all a bit guilty of letting that copy-paste brain take over from time to time, right? You stumble. You realize you didn't actually own the knowledge. You were really just renting it for the 30 seconds you were staring at the screen.
Let's look at a second example, solving a problem. Say you're working through a tricky math equation or a complex block of code, and you use AI to generate the solution. You follow along with every single step, nodding your head. It all makes total sense. But the moment the parameters of the problem change even slightly, just a tiny little shift in the variables, you just freeze. You suddenly realize you don't actually know where to begin because, you learned how to read a solution, not how to actually solve the problem.
And here's a third one for you. Submitting an assignment or a work report. You fire up the tool, and out comes this beautifully written, incredibly well-structured document. You review it, it looks fantastic, and you hit submit. But I want to challenge you to ask yourself this. If I took the tool away entirely right now, could you still think that clearly? Could you really structure your thoughts with that level of precision on a blank piece of paper? This, right here, is the illusion. It's not ignorance. It's much trickier than that. It's this incredibly convincing feeling of understanding without having actually built the mental scaffolding to support it.
Section 3, put it to the test, a 3-step reality check. Okay, so let's pivot from the philosophical stuff to something highly practical. I really don't want you to just take my word for this. I want you to try this out later today. Step 1, pick literally any topic you've been curious about, ask an AI, and get a full answer. Just read it. Step 2, take a slightly different topic and learn it completely without AI. Go search, read different sources, compare them, and let yourself struggle just a little bit. Then, step 3, ask yourself honestly, which one was faster? Well, obviously step 1. But which one required actual effort, and crucially, which one stayed with you longer? Which one could you genuinely teach to a friend 3 days later? The goal here isn't to say, one method is inherently evil and the other is pure. Not at all. It's about recognizing exactly what each method is doing to your brain.
Section 4, data patterns versus truth. What AI actually gives you. To really understand why this happens, we have to recognize that we so often mistake the output of a machine for absolute reality. AI operates on massive data patterns. It analyzes billions of parameters and spits out what is most likely, most repeated, and most statistically common. But let me ask you, if something is repeated often, does it automatically mean it's true? No, of course not. AI shows you what is common, but true understanding, that requires knowing what is meaningful. Truth isn't just data. Truth involves context, involves human judgment,
It involves lived experience. And these are fundamental human responsibilities that we simply cannot outsource to an algorithm. Section 5. How to actually use AI. Keeping your ability to think.
Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now. Wait, are you saying I should just go delete all my AI apps? No, absolutely not. The question isn't, should we use AI? We're going to. It's way too powerful not to. The real question is, how do we actually use it without losing our fundamental ability to think? The old way, and it's a trap we literally all fall into, is treating AI like this magic oracle. We ask it for answers, we get the answer, and then we just stop thinking. The new way is to ask for perspectives. Don't stop at clarity. Don't just accept the very first response it spits out. Instead, actively question it, challenge it, use it as a sparring partner, not a crutch. And to do this, we really need to change up our prompts. Instead of just typing, "What is this?" or "Give me the answer to X," ask questions that force the AI to provide depth and force you to evaluate it. Ask things like, "Why does this happen?" Or "What are the limitations of this approach?" Or my absolute personal favorite, "Where could this explanation be wrong?" By asking these kinds of questions, you're using the AI to go wider, but you're forcing your own mind to go deeper. Which brings us to a moment of total honesty. Do you feel more efficient using AI? Or do you sometimes feel dependent? It's totally okay if the answer is both. But cultivating that self-awareness, like actually noticing the exact moment you stop thinking and start relying, that awareness is where real learning actually begins.
Section 6. Reclaiming your human mind. The final takeaway.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's bring this whole narrative full circle, right back to our opening premise. We have to properly map out what belongs to the machine and what belongs to us. AI's ultimate strength, its access to knowledge. It has masterfully, beautifully solved the problem of organizing and retrieving data. That is literally a miracle of modern engineering. But the human requirement, true understanding, well, that hasn't changed one bit. It still demands your effort. It still demands your focused attention. And it still demands your conscious awareness.
So, as you move forward from this explainer, stepping into a world where an answer is always just a keystroke away, I want you to stop asking, "What is the answer?" and start asking yourself this one question every single time you use these tools. Did I build the understanding, or did I just receive it? Because in the end, AI can give you answers, but it cannot tell you whether you truly understand them. That is entirely up to you. If you want to continue building that ability to think clearly, to question deeply, to not just consume knowledge, but to actually transform it, then make sure to subscribe. Join us as we continue to figure out how to think critically in a world that's overflowing with easy answers. Thanks so much for learning with me today.